When my dad gave the family business to my brother and told me to pack my things, I didn't argue, just left. 6 months later, he called me in tears. I let it go to voicemail. Spent 12 years building my father's regional logistics company from a failing 3-truck operation into a $20 million enterprise. 80-hour weeks, missed holidays, a ruined engagement. I sacrificed my entire 20s so my father could play golf and brag to his friends. My younger brother Julian sacrificed nothing. He spent his 20s failing out of 2 private colleges and racing sports cars paid for by the company expense account. 6 months ago, my dad called me into the main boardroom. Julian was sitting in my executive chair, spinning around with a cup of espresso. Son, I'm stepping down, my dad said, staring at the table instead of my eyes. And I'm transferring 100% of the company equity to Julian. I sat completely still. My pulse didn't even spike. And my 30% sweat equity? I asked, my voice completely flat. The verbal agreement we made 5 years ago? Julian needs a clean slate, my dad said, his voice cold and defensive. He can't have you looming over his shoulder, making him feel inadequate. I need you to pack your personal belongings and leave today. Julian looked up at me and smiled. It was a subtle, arrogant smirk that said I won. In movies, the betrayed son screams. He throws a chair through the glass wall. He swears revenge. I did none of that. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even sigh. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my office keycard, laid it flat on the mahogany table, and stood up. Are you seriously not even going to fight for it? Julian sneered, leaning back. That's pathetic. I looked at my brother, then at my father. Congratulations, Julian, I said softly. It's all yours. I packed my desk into a single cardboard box, walked out to my truck, and drove away. What my father and brother failed to understand was very simple. They thought I was just an employee who managed the daily grind. They didn't realize I was the entire infrastructure. I didn't sabotage their systems. I didn't steal their client databases. I didn't break my non-compete clause. I didn't have to. I simply removed myself from the equation. For 12 years, our entire dispatch architecture ran on proprietary routing software that I personally coded and copyrighted under my private LLC, licensing it to the company on a month-to-month basis. For 12 years, our primary interstate transport permits were tied directly to my personal master safety manager license. And for 12 years, our 3 largest corporate clients stayed because of personal indemnity bonds, backed by my own private assets. When I walked out, I didn't cancel a single contract. I just let them run their natural course. I spent the next 6 months sleeping 8 hours a night for the first time in a decade. I bought a small house by the water, enjoyed the quiet, and quietly launched my own boutique logistics consultancy firm. Meanwhile, Julian took the wheel. By month 2, Julian missed the mandatory regulatory compliance audit because he ignored the legal notices, assuming they were spam. By month 4, our largest client terminated their contract after Julian missed 3 major automotive shipments and tried to blame the client's internal team over email. By month 5, the month-to-month software license for my dispatch system expired. The entire system locked them out automatically. Julian tried to hire a freelance developer to hack into the servers, only to discover that the database was fully encrypted and hosted on private cloud, servers legally owned by my independent LLC. They were flying blind, losing 6 figures a week, and operating completely out of compliance with federal transport laws. Yesterday afternoon, my phone lit up on my kitchen counter. Caller ID, Dad. I hadn't heard his voice or seen his face since the day he told me to pack my things. I didn't answer. I just watched the screen glow until it went dark. A minute later, a voicemail notification popped up. I picked up my phone, hit play, and set it on speaker while I poured my morning coffee. My father's voice came through the speaker, but it didn't sound like a proud, commanding patriarch who kicked me out of his office. He was weeping. Heavy, desperate, pathetic sobs. Son, please, he choked out, his voice trembling. Please call me back. The Department of Transportation just impounded the entire fleet. The bank froze our operating accounts. Julian ran us into the ground. We are facing bankruptcy, and the bank is coming after the family home. Please, I made a terrible mistake. You have to come back and fix this. I stood in my quiet kitchen, listening to the entire 3-minute message in total silence. When it ended, I opened my laptop. An hour before his call, I had received a formal notification from my corporate attorney. The bank had officially put my father's defaulted corporate debt, fleet leases, and office building up for distressed asset acquisition. Using the capital from my new firm and a clean credit line, I had already submitted the winning bid to buy out their primary debt notes. I now own the building, the fleet, and the ground my father walked on. I won't be hiring Julian back, and I won't be returning my father's call. I permanently deleted the voicemail, closed my laptop, and took a sip of coffee.